In the town of Tulu, there was a hairstylist named Ngozi who could finish any hairstyle in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Styles that took other stylists 8 hours, Ngozi completed in half an hour. Her braids were perfect. Her weaves were flawless. Women traveled from distant villages just to sit in her chair. But there was something strange about Ngozi's salon. She had one rule that made no sense. You could not take your hair home with you. Every strand that fell to the floor during your appointment had to stay in the salon. If you tried to collect it, Ngozi would become furious. And nobody understood why. Until a young woman named Chidima decided to break that rule. And what she discovered changed everything. Ngozi opened her salon 2 years ago in the heart of Tulu Market. The building was small but beautifully decorated. Bright fabrics hung from the ceiling. Mirrors lined every wall. Soft music played from a small radio in the corner. But what drew people to Ngozi's salon wasn't the decoration. It was her speed. Impossible speed. On her very first day, a woman came in asking for box braids. The woman had thick, long hair. Box braids on hair like that normally took 10 to 12 hours. Most stylists would ask you to come back the next day to finish. But Ngozi smiled and said, "Sit down. I'll be done in 30 minutes." The woman laughed. She thought Ngozi was joking. But 30 minutes later, she stood up with the most beautiful box braids she had ever seen. Every braid was the same size. Every part was perfectly straight. Not a single hair out of place. The woman stared at herself in the mirror, speechless. "How did you do this so fast?" she whispered. Ngozi just smiled. "I have a gift," she said softly. Word spread like wildfire. Within weeks, Ngozi's salon was fully booked every single day. Women lined up outside before sunrise just to get an appointment. Brides came to her the morning of their weddings. Women with job interviews came to her an hour before. Everyone wanted Ngozi to do their hair. Because with Ngozi, you were never late. You were never disappointed. You always left looking like a queen. But there was that one rule. The strange rule that nobody could understand. After every appointment, Ngozi would sweep the floor herself. She never let anyone help. She would gather every single strand of fallen hair into a small black bag. And if a customer tried to pick up their own hair from the floor, Ngozi would stop them immediately. "Please don't touch that," she would say firmly. "Why not?" some customers would ask. "It's my hair." "It's salon policy," Ngozi would reply. "Once it falls, it stays here." Most women shrugged and forgot about it. But some found it odd. "Why does she keep our hair?" they whispered to each other outside. "What does she do with it?" "Maybe she uses it for wigs," one woman suggested. "Or she sells it," another said. They didn't know. And Ngozi never explained. Chidima was a university student who came home to Tulu for the holidays. She had heard about Ngozi's salon from her mother. "You must go to Ngozi," her mother insisted. "She's the best. She'll finish your hair in no time." Chidima was skeptical. She had been to many salons before. They all promised speed. They all disappointed. But she decided to give Ngozi a chance. When Chidima arrived at the salon, she was surprised by how crowded it was. Women sat outside on benches, waiting for their turn. Some had been there since early morning. Finally, it was Chidima's turn. She sat in the chair and showed Ngozi a picture of the hairstyle she wanted. It was a complex style. Goddess braids with curls at the end. "This will take at least 6 hours, Chidima said. "Maybe I should book for tomorrow." Ngozi smiled. "No need. I'll have you done in 30 minutes. Chidima laughed. "That's impossible." "Watch," Ngozi said. And she began to walk. Chidima sat quietly, watching Ngozi in the mirror. Ngozi's hands moved incredibly fast. Almost too fast. It was like watching a video on fast forward. Her fingers flew through Chidima's hair, sectioning, braiding, curling. Chidima tried to follow the movements, but she couldn't. They were too weak. Too precise. And then she noticed something strange. Every few seconds, Ngozi would pause. Just for a moment. Her hands would freeze mid-braid. Her eyes would glaze over, staring at nothing. And then she would continue, even faster than before. Chidima felt a chill run down her spine. Something wasn't right. She wanted to say something, but she stayed quiet. Exactly 30 minutes later, Ngozi stepped back. "All done," she said. Chidima looked in the mirror. Her hair was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Every braid was identical. Every curl was bouncy and full. It looked like it had taken hours. But it had only been 30 minutes. "How did you do this?" Chidima asked, amazed. Ngozi smiled but didn't answer. As Chidima stood up to leave, she noticed something on the floor. A small clump of her hair. Without thinking, she bent down to pick it up. "Don't touch that." Ngozi's voice was sharp and loud. Everyone in the salon turned to look. Chidima froze, her hand inches from the hair. "I'm sorry," she stammered. "I was just going to throw it away." "Leave it," Ngozi said, her voice cold. "I'll handle it." Chidima slowly stood up, her heart pounding. Ngozi's face had changed. The warm smile was gone. Her eyes were hard. Almost threatening. Chidima paid quickly and left. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. That night, Chidima couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Ngozi's reaction. The way her hands moved. The strange pauses. The hair on the floor. Why was Ngozi so protective of the hair? What did she do with it? Chidima decided she had to find out. The next evening, just before closing time, Chidima returned to the salon. She hid across the street, behind a mango tree, and watched. One by one, the customers left. Ngozi locked the door. She pulled down the curtains. And then she turned off all the lights. Chidima waited. After about 10 minutes, she saw a faint glow coming from inside the salon. Not electric light. Something else. Something that flickered like candlelight. Chidima crept closer. She peered through a small gap in the curtains. What she saw made her blood run cold. Ngozi was kneeling on the floor in the center of the room. In front of her was a large clay pot. Candles surrounded the pot, casting shadows on the walls. And Ngozi was chanting. Her voice was low and rhythmic. Words Chidima didn't recognize. Then Ngozi reached for the black bag. The bag where she kept all the hair. She opened it and began pulling out handfuls of hair. Different textures. Different lengths. Different colors. Hair from all her customers. Ngozi dropped the hair into the pot, one handful at a time. As the hair touched whatever was inside the pot, smoke began to rise. Thick, dark smoke. And then Chidima heard it. Voices. Faint whispers coming from the pot. Women's voices. Crying. Moaning. Calling for help. Chidima's hand flew to her mouth to stop herself from screaming. Ngozi continued chanting, her voice growing louder. And then something rose from the pot. Not smoke. Something solid. A figure. Dark and shapeless. It hovered above the pot, swaying to Ngozi's chant. "Thank you for the offering," the figure said in a voice that sounded like many voices speaking at once. "I have kept my part of the bargain," Ngozi replied. "My hands remain swift. My business remains prosperous. And so it shall continue," the figure said. As long as you continue to feed me. I will, Ngozi promised. Every day, I will bring you more. The figure laughed. A horrible, echoing laugh. And then it sank back into the pot. Chidinma stumbled backward, trembling. She had to tell someone. She had to warn people. But who would believe her? The next morning, Chidinma went to see Mama Chioma. Mama Chioma was the oldest woman in Tulu. People said she had spiritual sight. That she could see things others couldn't. Chidinma told her everything. The speed. The hair. The pot. The figure. Mama Chioma listened carefully, her face growing more serious with each word. When Chidinma finished, Mama Chioma closed her eyes and was silent for a long time. Finally, she spoke. Ngozi has made a covenant with a spirit, Mama Chioma said quietly. A hair spirit. It lives in that pot and feeds on the life force contained in human hair. Life force. Chidinma whispered. Yes, Mama Chioma said. Our hair carries part of our essence. Our energy. Our spirit. When Ngozi collects the hair and offers it to the spirit absorbs that energy. And in return, it gives her supernatural speed and skill. Chidinma felt sick. So every woman who goes to her salon, the spirit is feeding on them. Yes, Mama Chioma said. Not enough to kill them, but enough to drain them slowly. Over time, they will feel tired, weak, depressed. And they won't know why. We have to stop her, Chidinma. If we confront her directly, it could be dangerous. Together, they came up with a plan. The next day, Mama Chioma gathered several women from the village. Women who had all been to Ngozi's salon. Women who had been feeling strange lately. Tired. Drained. Like something was missing. Mama Chioma explained everything to them. At first, they didn't believe her. But when they heard Chidinma's story, doubt crept into their minds. We need proof, one woman said. Then we'll get proof, Mama Chioma replied. That evening, the women surrounded Ngozi's salon. They came quietly at first. No shouting. No arguments. Just footsteps in the dust as women gathered from every corner of Tulu. Young women. Old women. Mothers. Grandmothers. Some had done their hair at Ngozi's salon just days ago. Some months ago. Some had been her first customers. Mama Chioma stood at the front, holding a small leather pouch in her left hand and a carved wooden staff in her right. Chidinma stood beside her, her heart pounding. The salon was closed, but a faint glow flickered behind the curtains. Mama Chioma raised her staff and knocked on the door 3 times. Knock. 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 The chanting inside stopped. For a moment, there was silence. Then Ngozi's voice came from behind the door. Who is there? She asked. Her voice was calm. Too calm. It is Mama Chioma, the old woman replied. And the daughters of Tulu. The door remained shut. You should all go home, Ngozi said. It is late. Mama Chioma's voice hardened. Open this door, Ngozi. Or we will open it ourselves. There was a long pause. Then the door creaked open. Ngozi stood there, barefoot, wearing a simple wrapper. Her eyes darted across the crowd. For the first time, she looked afraid. What is this? She asked. Why are you disturbing me? Mama Chioma stepped forward. You have fed them with their own hair, she said quietly. You have traded their strength for your speed. Ngozi's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about, she snapped. You are accusing me without proof. Mama Chioma nodded slowly. Then let us see inside. Ngozi tried to block the doorway. You have no right. Before she could finish, a sudden wind swept through the market. The candles inside the salon flared bright. The clay pot at the center of the room began to shake. The women gasped. Ngozi screamed. "No," she cried. "Please. Don't make it angry." That was all the confirmation Mama Chioma needed. "Hold her," she commanded. Two women stepped forward and restrained Ngozi as she struggled wildly. "You don't understand," Ngozi shouted. "It gave me everything. I was nobody before. Nobody." Mama Chioma entered the salon slowly. The smell inside was thick and heavy. Burnt hair. Smoke. Something rotten beneath it all. She stood before the clay pot. The surface of the pot was cracked now, pulsing as if something inside was breathing. Mama Chioma opened her leather pouch and poured a white powder in a circle around the pot. The whispers began immediately. Crying. Begging. Angry murmurs. "Feed me," a voice hissed from inside. "Where is my food?" The pot shook violently. Mama Chioma raised her staff. "You have fed enough," she said. "You are not welcome here anymore." A dark shape pushed against the opening of the pot, trying to rise. The salon lights flickered. Ngozi screamed again. "If you destroy it, I'll be nothing," she sobbed. "You don't know what it's like to be invisible." Mama Chioma turned to her. "You chose power over people," she said. "And power always demands payment." She slammed the staff onto the floor. The circle of white powder burst into flame. The clay pot cracked open with a deafening sound. A black smoke exploded upward, filling the room. The women outside screamed and stumbled back. From the smoke, the spirit emerged, tall, twisted, shifting shapes, with many faces appearing and disappearing. "You broke the covenant," it roared. Mama Chioma did not move. "You fed on what was not yours," she said. "And now you will leave." She began to chant. The chant was old. Older than the market. Older than Tulu itself. The air grew heavy. The spirit shrieked, its form unraveling. It tried to pull back toward Ngozi, stretching dark tendrils toward her. Ngozi collapsed to the floor, crying. "I'm sorry," she screamed. "I'm sorry." With one final strike of the staff, Mama Chioma shattered the pot completely. The spirit let out a piercing scream that echoed through the night. Then it vanished. The smoke cleared. The candles went out. The salon was silent. Ngozi lay on the floor, shaking. When she finally looked up, her hands were trembling badly. She tried to braid a loose strand of hair near her face. Her fingers fumbled. Slow. Clumsy. The speed was gone. The next morning, Ngozi's salon was empty. She had packed her things before dawn and left Tulu without saying goodbye. Some said she returned to her village. Others said she wandered from town to town, unable to walk. But she never opened another salon. And as for the women who had gone to her, for weeks, many of them felt weak, tired, emotionally drained. But slowly, day by day, their strength returned. Mama Chioma performed cleansing rites for them. She taught them how to protect themselves. And Chidinma learned a lesson she would never forget. Not everything that comes fast is a blessing. Not every gift is free. Some things take from you quietly. Until one day, you realize you have been paying the price all along.
My name is Joseph, and I share African stories and folk tales that carry deep lessons. If you enjoyed this story, please click the subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe, stay wise. Bye-bye.